Sometimes things happen beyond your control, as if they have a life of their own. The choices you make, what appears to be right, seems you just have no say. As if you're a witness to your own mistakes, it's easy to play along. After you see what the choices came to be, like a storm that's passed on.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? It has been a while since I've been on here. I could give some kind of weird explanation or whatever, but nobody really gives a shit about that. I just haven't made videos. I think last year, man, what a crazy year last year was, right? Like many others, lost my job early in the year. I was unemployed for several months, fighting with the state's unemployment system. I'm going to say I'm a big YouTuber now, really big. And by that I mean I put on my my COVID curve. During the middle of all that last year, around April, May, sometime around there, I ended up selling my Harley, which at the time it kind of broke my heart a little bit, but at the same time, that was my first big Harley. I'd had Sportsters in the past, and I'd ridden other people's smaller bikes and you know, old Yamahas that I used to have. That was my first big bagger bike, and it was great for long trips. I loved it on the highway. I loved taking it to Tennessee, New Orleans, but I really didn't enjoy riding it around town. It was just too heavy. So I want to show you my new baby, but first I'm going to tell you a little background about how I got to this point. When I was riding my Harley to work, I worked for a cell phone store, and one of my reps for Samsung was from India. And we talked for a while about motorcycles, and you know, we had a pretty good friendship. And one night he was telling me about the difference between the U.S. and India, at least how he saw it, was that here motorcycles are considered a luxury and cars are considered a necessity. He said in India it's the opposite. It's motorcycles are considered like the basic bare minimum. Cars were considered luxury, so it's easier to get them, easier to finance them, cheaper on insurance, etc. The more we got into the conversation, he told me, he said, yeah, but we don't ride big motorcycles like this, talking about my Harley. He said, most people ride our brand there called Royal Enfield. And I said, what is it? I Googled it right there on the spot, and I thought it was just the coolest thing. At the time, I had my head so stuck up Harley Davidson's ass, thinking that was really the only motorcycle, yada, yada, yada. But over time, I found myself Googling them a lot more, watching videos, watching reviews, comparisons, etc. Finally, about a year ago, just before COVID hit, I thought, man, if I could just either get another motorcycle on top of the Harley that I had, or replace it completely, I'd be set. Didn't really see a way out of that, though. But now, after everything is kind of settled down, back to work, thank fuck, right? I started looking at them more and more. I paid off all my debts recently, so we're in a pretty good spot. And so yesterday, finally, went up to the only dealership that sells Royal Enfield in the entire Tampa Bay area, and I picked this bad boy out, and I'm really, really excited about it. Let's take a look at it. So yeah, that's the overall look. Obviously, if you have looked up Royal Enfields in the past, you clearly know what this looks like, but this one's mine. I had a really hard time at first choosing between the Continental GT, which is what this one is, and the Interceptor. But there's a guy that talked about blank canvas, right? And I really liked that approach to it. And over the past couple weeks, I spent a lot of time looking at customs and things that people were doing, and some of the best ones out there started as the Interceptor. So what I found myself doing was trying to make myself like the Interceptor, and I thought to myself, why do that? If you're not naturally drawn to it, then why make yourself like it? The GT has always caught my eye. So I rode it yesterday, rode it from the dealership home. I rode it last night up to Lowe's for an errand. I went out for a couple errands this morning, pick up some things. I love the bike. It's way different than what I've been used to the past few years with my bagger. One of the biggest things that I'm getting used to is not the weight necessarily, because like I said, I've ridden Sportsters and shit in the past, so it's not that much different in weight there, but definitely the forward riding position. This is something that I've never had in a motorcycle, so it's going to take some conditioning for my wrist to get used to. But so what we're going to do today, and I was going to take some of these things off yesterday, but I decided no, let's save it for the video. Some of the most common things that people take off, we're going to do that today. I think the bike's just going to look a whole lot better. So like most people, we're gonna take this guy off here. I don't like the way it looks. I kind of struggled with that a little bit at first, thinking, hey, maybe I'll leave it stock or whatever, but I just don't like it. I don't think it fits to me personally on a cafe racer or a standard classic looking motorcycle. I think it kind of sticks out. At some point soon, I've got to look at all the mods that I want to do to it, but one of the things I want to do is get rid of this entire assembly here. I can appreciate that it looks classic and it looks authentic, but again, just not feeling it. Another piece that we're going to do today, I'm going to take off these guys. I watched one of the guys on YouTube have a real hard time with the glue on there, so I'm not really looking forward to fucking with that, but we're going to do it anyway. And then we're going to take this guy off. So these are the things that I'm going to mess with today. And then over the course of the next few weeks, we'll work on little things like I want to get new little blinkers for up here, maybe a new headlight housing. I want to definitely get rid of this thing and maybe make it a black one or get it powder coated or something. This guy right here has got to be priority. And then we're going to start looking at some performance upgrades. Air filter, fuel plug, little things like that I can do relatively cheap. Exhaust is going to be a priority. I don't know what I want to do with it yet. I really don't. So these mufflers, I haven't picked them up yet, but these mufflers are supposedly extremely heavy. So if for nothing else, I want to make sure I lighten it up quite a bit. I've seen some straight pipe options out there. I've seen some other exhausts. This one, I don't know if I want to stay with the whole swept exhaust and keep it classic, or if I want to figure out a way to get all new headers and pipes and run a dual scrambler type exhaust. We'll see what happens. So let's get started taking some of this stuff off and making it a little bit mine.
You stupid whore is what I meant to say, but instead all that came out of my stupid face was, why don't you love me and why'd you leave me, and darling, I swear I'll change. So tell me you love me and tell me you won't fade away. You stupid bitch is what I meant to say out loud, but instead all that came out of my stupid fucking mouth was, why don't you love me and why'd you leave me, and darling, I swear I'll change. Now tell me you love me and tell me you won't fade. Oh, tell me you love me and tell me you won't fade. Tell me you love me and tell me you won't fade away.
Tell me that don't look just loads better without the reflector. I don't think for a moment that the reflectors are going to save me from any doom and gloom. Yeah. So just a little bit of work today made it look just loads better already. So now we've got, what, 30 minutes worth of work, if you want to call that work. I'm going to figure out a motovlog helmet mic setup here in the next little bit, today sometime. the thing about it is, I configured my helmet. It's an AGV helmet, so it's got that pointy face mask piece of it. And the way I configured my GoPro was to allow me to see over the fairing on my road glide. So I don't know if I need to adjust some things or whatever. I don't know if I have a good working mic for it. But yeah, we'll try to figure something out, and we'll go for a ride.
Sometimes things happen beyond your control, as if they have a life of their own. Choices you make, what appears to be right, seems you just have no say. As if you're a witness to your own mistakes, it's easy to play along. After you see what the choices came to be, like a storm that's passed on.